Hi guys, it's Arsh Ellahi. Welcome back to the channel. And in today's session, we're going to be talking about the all-important topic of negotiating, when to go hard, when to take it easy, and how to get to that desired outcome. Before we do that, I need your help. Can you hit the subscribe button and smash the notification bell? Every time I release a new video, you'll get notified of it. So let's get straight into it, negotiating. Some of us may be good at it, some of us may not be so good at it. You know, I'm going to be completely honest, that's something that I've been quite gifted with, the ability to negotiate, to get the deal that I want. But in order for me to do that, I've had to learn certain things along the way, and this is what I'm going to be teaching you in today's video. So the reason why I'm doing today's video, I'm going to tell you a bit of a story, is because some of you may or may not know that I've started to build up quite a property portfolio in Cornwall, and it never really intended that way. So I started off with one property which we found, believe it or not, on eBay. There's a property that was being listed. I approached the owner, we negotiated a lease option deal. For those that don't know what a lease option deal is where we lease a property, but then also put the option to purchase. I've got lots of videos on lease options. Please feel free to go and check them out on the channel. So anyway, so one property then led into, believe it or not, a few months ago, whilst I was down at my property, I met the owner that owns a couple of the other units who was looking to sell their properties, and so we negotiated on a deal on those. We completed on those approximately 2 months ago, and they've been working really well. So approximately near enough 2 weeks ago, I was down in Cornwall during the summer break, and whilst I was there, I noticed another owner selling about to sell another 2 units. Now these are all on one kind of holiday complex, so they're not like static caravans or anything. These are actual proper wood lodges, proper structure buildings. And I sat down with him. I said, well, what's the reason for selling? Now, tip number one, rule number one about negotiating: you have 2 of these and you have 1 of those, and if you use them in that order, you'll be able to get the best possible deal, and I'll explain the reason why. Never jump into a negotiation by being empowering and trying to put across what you want from the outset. It's better to understand and listen. Listen by literally understanding what is the vendor's pain. Why are they motivated to sell? And so I talk in a lot of my trainings about pain and negotiation. So pain is understanding the vendor. Why are they selling? Are they upscaling? And believe it or not, understanding why they're motivated. Now, when we talk about motivation, motivation comes in multiple, lots of different ways. It could be, lots of people associate motivation with that they're in financial trouble. That's not necessarily the case. And out of all the deals that I've done, that's very rarely the case. Motivation can be something like that they're upscaling, they're downscaling, they could be in financial trouble, they could be going through some marital issues, relationship issues. So don't always assume that it is related to money and financial issues. And this one was not. Believe it or not, what this is that these properties are held in a company. The directors are looking to retire. The properties have given them quite a good income. And so when I was trying to figure out what their motivation was, it wasn't the fact that they needed the income. It was the fact that they're getting old and they're finding the management difficult. So for me, the key takeaway out of that negotiation was time and that they don't have the ability to manage them. So I put together a proposal. So I said to them, guys, okay, if you are prepared to sell, but you're still looking at possibly generating an income from them, but without having to manage them, I proposed again another lease option to them. So we worked on the basis they didn't really understand the concept from the outset, but this is where then I sat down, and knowing that they were kind of interested in it, I then sat down and ran through the whole structure. What is a lease option? More importantly, I discussed the benefits for them on a lease option. I then went through how it would work, what payments would they get, when would they get those payments, and how that would work from a cash flow point of view for them and also for me. I then also ran through all the legalities. Is it legal? What are the pitfalls? What do they need to know? So I first understood their reason behind wanting to sell. I then tried to come across and create a solution for them. I then put forward all the positives and the benefits for them, and also the negatives. Don't leave out the negatives, because if it all sounds too good to be true, I did tell them that with an option, it is only an option, but not an obligation. I don't mind telling them that. I then went through my credentials, who I am, what I'm all about. Then they had a bit of comfort knowing that I also own 3 other units on this block. We went and viewed my 3 units. They saw that I'd done them to a much better standard than what they were offering, and hence why I could offer what we were offering. Now, the reason why I'm doing this video is because when they looked at the income that they were generating, they were hoping to achieve the income that they were generating, which meant that there was not going to be any almost like cash flow or profit in the deal for me. So that would have been a great deal for them, but not necessarily for me. And remember, you've got to create a win-win scenario. So what I went away and did some research, and I came up with a spreadsheet, and I now call this the loan amortization form. And I then went back to them and I presented this, and I said, guys, on the payments that you're requesting, if we have a look at what you've generated. So one thing that I requested was the last 12 to 24 months. I can't really count the last 12 months because we've been through a difficult period, as we all know. So I asked for the last 12, 24, 36 months worth of accounts so that I could kind of see what kind of income they were generating for these units. Anyway, we got these, we've got the documents. So tip number 2, don't be afraid to ask for documents so that you can go back and present your offer. So got the information, put this all into a spreadsheet, and I said to them, guys, here's what you generated in year 1, year 2, and year 3. Now, based on the income that you're looking to generate from me, this leaves me with very little. Now, not taking into consideration voids, bad debt. We are in a destination location, which means that we are in a seasonal location. So Cornwall, you'll get the high season and the low season. Low season, it's quite low occupancy. High season, it's very high occupancy. So I looked at all the different factors and I presented it. And I said, guys, at these figures, it kind of doesn't work. So I said to them, here's what I would like to propose. And this is where the negotiation really started, because this is where I now put forward my case. I understood what they wanted. I understood what their outcome was. I just needed to kind of create a middle ground. And this is the negotiation part. So I said to them, guys, you want this income. So over a year, let's just imagine, for argument's sake, it's £2,000 a month, which is £24,000 a year. So for each unit, it's 24,000, which is 48,000 for both units. So I said to them, if that's the income that you desire, we can probably get that. But instead of breaking it down so that I'm paying you £2,000 a month, because let's face it, in low season, you're not going to kind of generate that kind of income. So it means that I'm going to be paying for this out of my own pocket. I'm going to be, what's the best way of putting this? I'm going to be, that's the best way of putting it. I'm going to be paying for it out of my own pocket, which means that the cash flow that I make in the high season will pretty much just counteract the money that I've put in the low season. So I said to them, guys, would you be prepared to do something where we pay a smaller amount in the low season, which means that it will still break even at worst case scenario. Best case scenario, it still makes money. And in the high season, we will make extra payments. So regardless, over the year, it still balances out so that you still make your £2,000 a month, or over the year, you still generate that 24,000. The first comeback that they came back with was, Arsh, how do you know that you're just going to take advantage of the low season and then try and hand the properties back in the high season? I said, guys, that really doesn't make any sense, because why would I take a property off you now in the low season? We're approaching September, which means that the bookings are dying off. And then, burden the pain of paying you guys throughout the low season and then giving you the properties back in the high season when you guys can make the most money. And when we started to look at it like that, they understood it. So now we've got to a point where we've instructed solicitors. So deal done, handshaken, and we're into solicitors. So that means that we're now going to have 5 units. Now we've negotiated all different kinds of terms with this deal. So it's taken approximately a week of going back, well, a couple of weeks, shall we say, going back and forth, just going over the bits and pieces so that they become comfortable with the structure, but they become comfortable with the deal. I've been very cautious with these guys as well, because it's the first time that I'm doing business with them. But the key to it is the negotiation, because let's face it, could you have done this kind of negotiation with a mortgage company? Lots of people will say, or I'd say high 90% of you probably will say no, but believe it or not, you can. Now, in your mortgage, if you ever come across variable mortgages, or if you come across mortgages where, as long as, again, the liability is paid throughout the year, they don't care whether you pay 1 month or £1 a month, and then in the high season you're paying overpayments, but within the year you have to make that. You have to make that commitment. So again, going back to my example, if the liability is £2,000 a month, but over a year it's £24,000, what the mortgage company will want is make sure that over the year you've covered £24,000 in rental payments to them, or mortgage payments to them. So there are products out there like that, but not many people know about that. The same with, again, we could talk about the argument of interest only versus capital repayment. Capital repayment is where you pay down the debt over a period of time. And that's a big favourite of mine. Don't mind disclosing that. Whereas interest only is that you're only paying the interest, your debt level remains the same, but then you use big chunks of capital and pay off at least 10% a year. And you can do that under your normal terms of mortgage, under your normal mortgage terms. So feel free to go and have a look at that. I should put a disclaimer here that I'm not a financial advisor, and this is not deemed to be financial advice. If you do require financial advice, please go and seek legal and independent financial advice from someone that is governed to do that. So you can do this when it comes to negotiating. Don't jump straight in. Now, the reason why I'm telling you is the same with estate agents, the same with vendors, the same with builders. When I'm negotiating, I always listen first. And if that is one of the key takeaways from this video, is listen, don't shout. And I used to go in overbearing like a bull in a china shop, and you say, this is what I want, these are my terms, take it or leave it. And believe it or not, guys, that doesn't work. That genuinely doesn't work. If you go in and you actually go in there with the intention of, I'm going to listen to what they're going to say. I'm not going to say much in the first meeting. I'm going to understand what they want. Then I'm going to go away. I'm going to see how I can make this work, and then come back to them with what I would consider a suitable solution. That is the best way to negotiate. Don't throw all your cards on the table at the first time of meeting, because then you've got nowhere to go. More importantly, you may make an offer that you may not be able to deliver on. And that is one of the biggest mistakes in business. And I learned that a long time ago. When you walk into a house and you've made an offer, you've then gone off and done your research and think, oh, this property is not worth as much as I originally thought. Then I'm having to backtrack, which means that I'm now not living up to not actually honouring what I said I was going to do in the first place, which then questions your credibility as a property investor and also as a buyer. So there we have it, guys. Just short, sharp videos. Hopefully you're really enjoying these. If you are, please press like. Please hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell. As always, if you like more free content like this, please feel free to go and check out my podcast. It's called The Property Rebel. We release a new podcast every Tuesday at 6 a.m. As well as that, you can find me on social media channels. You can find me on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram and Twitter, and other handles of Arsh Ellahi. And finally, if you are looking for your own deals, or if you're looking for a property to purchase, or you're just interested in different property types in general, have you downloaded the Property Investor app? It's the UK's first property investment platform, which showcases all kinds of deals like this. So whether you're looking for BMV deals, below market value deals, rent to rent deals, lease option deals, service accommodation deals, commercial to residential deals, just to name a few, we've got them all on there. All you have to do is you can either go to our website, which is propertyinvestораpp.co.uk, or you can go to your app store on your smartphone, type in Property Investor and download it from there. It takes 2 minutes to register and download. And you'll have over 200 properties in the palm of your hands. And again, these are not properties that you can see on the likes of Rightmove and Zoopla. So feel free to go and check it out. Guys, on that note, as always, I wish you all to be safe, well and happy. And I'll speak to you all very soon. Thank you and bye-bye.